One Punch Man Season 2, Episode 2 was a superb episode. I thought it was extremely well done. The first thing you notice is it does not feel like 20 minutes. It feels like an hour long. And this happens when you have multiple storylines in the episode. If you've ever seen Rick and Morty and you know the Citadel episode, there's like 4 or 5 storylines going on at once, and that also feels like an hour-long movie. So we get that same feeling with One Punch Man. I think there's about 9 scenes that really make it come together. The first scene is Garo's introduction, and I think it's extremely well done and really primes us for Garo's character. The second scene is when Genos and Saitama are talking, and then Genos walks outside to find Sonic. So that's the second scene. And then after Genos and Sonic talk, we switch to Saitama and Blizzard talking. And I think the most important thing from that exchange is when Saitama introduces himself, he has a very menacing demeanor and energy coming off of him. And we don't really know why he has that menacing vibe. It's either because he doesn't like taking orders because they ordered him to introduce himself, or it's because he can kind of sense Blizzard's character and that's how he wanted to present himself to her. And I think this is a really good exchange to get into Saitama's character. He says to her that heroes shouldn't care about hierarchy, and then later down the line he says Blizzard doesn't understand what a hero is, and that a hero's job is to take on the villains. So we see Saitama as just pure justice. He's basically the embodiment of justice at this point. He doesn't care about rank, he doesn't care about reputation, he just believes in the hero and what the hero's duty is. So I think that's a really good insight into Saitama and what he thinks of being a hero is. He really values a hero at its core, and that's what he tries to live up to. And another really great thing about this scene is when Blizzard brings the ground up to try to crush him, and Saitama bursts out through a music change, and the music entrance is beautiful. It's so well timed, and the music fits in perfectly, and it's incredible. The fourth scene is when Genos and Sonic come into the frame and with their fight. He talks with Saitama for a bit, acknowledges Blizzard's there, and then he goes back into his fight with Sonic. And it's kind of funny that Genos gives off a menacing face too. So you have your master and your disciple both giving off a menacing demeanor in this episode, which I thought was kind of funny. Then the sixth scene I would say is when Saitama and Sonic fight. Another funny thing is when Saitama has the menacing face and it literally says menacing on the screen, it's not really menacing at all, so it's kind of an ironic thing that when he's trying to be menacing, he's not. And we also get a look into his serious sideways jump move, which is another ironic thing because it's kind of a silly technique and he's supposed to be fighting serious. And then I'd say the seventh scene is when Blizzard's talking to Saitama and Genos back in the room, and she's describing the Class A heroes, and then we have the eighth scene where it segues into the Class A number 1 hero. Handsome, Common, Amai, Mask. And I saw a really interesting comparison here. He's sent out to fight this frozen savage that escaped from the lab, but we see that the hero is actually the savage because he's told to bring him back alive, but he says he's not that soft and then immediately kills him. So we see that he's actually acting in a savage manner against the savage, so it's kind of, a juxtaposition and shows us into his character. And it's also ironic that he's called handsome, but he's basically a ruthless savage. But there's also Mask in his name, so that's kind of another good look into his character. He wears this mask, but what he really is a ruthless, brutal savage. And then I'd say the ninth scene is them talking again, and then King comes in. Overall, I think this was an extremely good episode. I think it was better than the last one, and it really gets you excited for things to come.